All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I'm going to try to go into a very sensitive subject. Nevertheless, it's something that needs to be spoken about and talked upon continuously. And the reason being is because if we do not grasp what is going on with us and what is going on with our society, the decline that we're all facing is inevitable. Now, I believe that the state of our country is very dire, very grim. I believe it's going to crash and fall hard anyway. Many times you hear me talk about the deliberate dumbing down of America and how that the powers that be sway public sentiment. I need you to listen to me very closely. Your children, which are the future of this country, and most people can't seem to grasp some of they call it old-fashioned concepts that I continue to keep putting forth. And I need for you to listen to me very closely. If you do not raise your children and instill into them morals and values, then who is going to do it? And I want you to listen to me real close. You see, the one thing I know about the powers that be in this system is that if they can get the children away from the parents, who they believe is psychotically and chaotically insane, if they can get the children away from the parents for 8 to 10 hours a day, and then all you have to do is, run maintenance on them to make sure they're clean and clothed, and then you're full of your occupation, you're caught up into it, rather than instilling the morals and values in them the way that it should. We're going to continue to keep seeing this societal decline. And you think about this for a moment. The children, which are our future, and if you are a sincere parent, and I can't use the word common sense because it's so uncommon today, but with a genuine care of your descendant, there is a natural spirit that has been put into man and the woman to guard, to preserve, and to protect that family, that child, with everything in you. You remember when you had a child and you first looked down upon that little baby, or you held that little baby, and how did your life completely changed from that point? Everything was first all about you. It was all about you. Career, job. You didn't have any distractions whatsoever at all. But no sooner as you held that little baby, everything in life from that point on was about the preservation of that child. And for a little bit, a small space of time, we do think about that. But I think that the system, and I need for you to listen to me very, very close, the system has been very successful in taking the first line teacher of the child out of the home, which is the mother. And they've done this with a concerted effort through different types of feminist movements, women's lib. I'm a woman, I'm just as good as any man, which you ought to think about that statement, because if you just as good as any man, then you can't be that good. But you think about this. Now we have more women graduating college, and now we have more women in the workforce than in the place that I personally think they should be. Now I want you to listen to me very closely. And before you prejudge this message, just listen, just hear me out real quick. For those of us who have been around for a while, we definitely can say that society is not better off today than it was 40 and 50 years ago. As a matter of fact, we are worse, and we are declining as a society. On an unprecedented scale, we are sincerely declining. And because we have all been trained by the government training camps called public school system, would you hear me call public food? they have shaped our minds. They have shaped our belief systems. And when you leave home, that school system whole job, which is the curriculum, is all federal, is to shape your mind to form and conform and act like what they call a good American citizen based on the curriculum that they are presenting to you and giving to you. And then ultimately they're trusting that in this system that they have provided for all of us to function in, that you would end up training and teaching your children, because very few people in America actually exercise independent thinking. See, it used to be a time that if a man or woman would educate themselves, it used to be a time that these people would look upon as people of intelligence, because they decided to burn the oil, to spend the time to study, to do everything that there is necessary, in order to advance themselves. But now, if you try to educate yourself outside of the system that they have provided for you, then the system has trained and manipulated and coerced the minds of the people as if you're someone not to even be listened to. Who told you that a doctor is a professional simply because he went to their schools to learn how to be a doctor? Who told you that a lawyer is professional and that you are incompetent as a man or woman and you cannot represent yourself because you don't know how to speak, nor do you know how to talk? Because the system simply accepts it. You see, in this country, even in this society, even in the churches today, when you look at Christianity as a whole, you can't even be what you call an accepted pastor, preacher, or teacher unless you have the degrees and the paperwork of the system. And they kind of reckon you as someone that is incompetent and someone that is not to be listened to. Can you shut this door, please? And when we are trained and manipulated and coerced like that, it's hard for us to function in this world since we have been manipulated on every end. And so I've watched over the years, and I'm a historian buff, and so I read a lot of history. I watch trends. And I've watched the decline of the society. I've watched women, and I want y'all to listen to me for a moment. The way that women dress and carry themselves today, in the 70s when I was coming up, those women were defined as street whores. Now it is the acceptable behavior of today. It is accepted for a woman to be out on a job and not raise her children and guide the house. And then we wonder why our children are acting like a bunch of fools when they come home. Because when you put your children around other children who are particularly at home, have some influence by their parents, you don't know if their influence is good or you don't know if it's bad. The only way you'll be able to tell the behavior is the way you see your children acting. That's the only way you're going to be able to tell that behavior. And I have a sincere concern because I'm watching this because, see, the next generation behind us, they're going to be worse off, ultimately worse off than what we were if somebody don't do something about it. So that's the reason why I advocate homeschooling. Now, in order to do that, that means the mother has to have some type of morals and values and traits about herself as well. Then we're ultimately faced with men who do not want to take care of their responsibilities. I'm talking about lazy men. See, the home is all but destroyed. We have men now that do not want to work, but they expect to eat. We've got something going on in the minds of men today that they have an entitlement mentality. And not only that, they don't even have the fatherly nature that should be ingrained into every man to take care of the family. We got some serious problems, some very, very serious problems. And the man who's supposed to be the breadwinner of the family, well, he's not doing it now. And therefore the family structure is destroyed. I think it's all done by a concerted effort. I really, truly do. And I really truly believe that the reason why that is done by concerted effort is because they have trained our minds to function a certain way. You have to understand this. If you work out in the system, especially if you are a professional woman, you are going to hate me. You're going to disagree with everything that I say, no matter what. But you know what? I'm telling the truth. I am telling the truth. And of course, you can shape your own truth and define truth on your own terms. I get my truth from a higher source than my own personal opinion. And I'm sure you derive yours from somewhere too. But if we both come from the same source, then you will know where I'm coming from. I think that our future is very grim here in America. I really, truly do. I think that the parents have lost all skills of parenthood because they have allowed the TV to babysit them, the children. They become nuisance. They get on your nerves. They're in your way because, you know, it is a job. It is a job. You see, every woman would like to have a child to take away the reproach, but nobody wants the responsibility of instilling good things into these children because you have to spend time with them if you want them brought up the same way. And I think considering, you know, the debauchery, the moral decay and the spiritual bankruptcy that our society is plagued with today, I think that we might as well send our children when they hit 5 years old. At the time of Berlin, we might as well send them to Berlin to go to war than to send them to these public schools and to allow their mind and conscience to be filled with full of immorality. You don't know if the teacher that is teaching your children have an alternative lifestyle or not. You do not know if they're closet witches. You know, they could be witches, who knows to what degree. And ultimately, even though there's a school curriculum, there's many, many times, and you hear it all the time, that children come home and tell you what my teacher said, and my teacher said, and my teacher said, and they look more to them as an authority figure than they do the mother themselves. We've lost our way. We surely have lost our way. I wished I had somebody talking to me, or at least would have presented to my mind and my conscience what I'm hearing today. Because, I mean, think about it. Would we not have a moral society today? Things wouldn't have to be questioned. What is marriage? I mean, that shouldn't even be a question. But we're sick. We're very sick as a society. And that's the truth. I'm like anybody else, not a perfect man. I've had my ups and I had my downs, but I know one thing about it in life. I've made sure that at this point in my life that all my successes has definitely outweighed my failures. But I do know this. The thing that doesn't kill you, it makes you strong. I do know that. And when you look at things that you've let yourself down off on and the pains that you felt in life, have you noticed that when you overcome those particular obstacles, that it does nothing but make you stronger as a man or woman? Invest in your children. Invest in time. I 100% agree and advocate homeschooling. But notice, when I say that, I 100% agree and I advocate homeschooling, providing you're going to be an intelligent, responsible parent. I mean, I thought the Bible teaches you train up the child in the way it should go, but you can't do that when your mind thinks a different way. Who told you? And that you should have somebody else to tell your children. You think about it. By the time they come out of the womb, the mother gets 1 or 2 months maternity leave. Next thing you know, she's back on the job, and the children is in somebody else's care. And then they have daycare. And then from there they have kindergarten. And then from kindergarten they have elementary. And then from elementary they have junior high or middle school. And then from middle school they have high school. And then from high school They have college. You know what? They have created a system that makes you think that you're functioning after your own mind, that your beliefs and value, when thoughts even submitted to your mind, you actually think they originate from you. Actually, they have trained you and manipulated you and coerced you very, very well. I wonder what type of family unit you would have if you could just be content with simple things, rather than trying to keep up with the lifestyle that America has told you to. I mean, do you realize how many people in this last mortgage debacle has lost their whole entire livelihood? I went to California a year ago, and I seen what looked like to be reputable families living in tents, pushing grocery carts around, and watching all the rest of society going to and fro as if these people didn't even exist. So much for brotherly love and benevolence, huh? Your politicians lie to you every time they get in front of the camera. The news media is jacked up in this. You know, you're going to have to make your own way. That's just the truth. And it's amazing because humans do need each other. But you have to become part of a family. I do know this. If you do the same things you've always done and expect change, you got problems, some very serious problems. Children are going to be enticed, going to be persuaded and swayed, very easily influenced, especially if there's a lot of sin around, because the flesh gravitates to sin. But there are a few of them that recognize that there are some people that's trying to do right and be holy. There are. And these people are becoming very good examples. And this is what the world does not want. The world hates people like me and others who advocate keeping the commandments, living a moral lifestyle, overcoming your own shortcomings, your faults and failures, not making excuses for them. When you overcome, teach others how to overcome. If you are a man, provide for your house. Take care of your family. They call this old-fashioned. Well, after they get home from school, then openly they have MTV, the Xbox, or either the internet. It's a sad, sad thing. It really, truly is. Well, anyway, I just had something on my heart. Just thought I'd just come in here and talk to you for a second because we really, truly need to reevaluate the direction we're going. That's why I said even on last night's broadcast that, we're going to be very selective about the people who we allow to become part of our fellowship, because we're tired of the riffraff and the people who do not possess serious minds. And I'm not serious about this because we're not in this to play games. We're not in this because we want to continue to keep functioning the way that we did when we were in the religion of Christianity. No, we're going on to perfection. And to perfect something, you openly going to experience correction and pain, which most people in arrogant America cannot take. I hope I said something to stimulate thought. I hope I said something to, again, allow you into my thinking and my thought process, and you be the judge. You be the judge. I'm sure that no matter what I said, that because of the way that we have been wired, that most people are going to take it wrong. But there will be few that will hear and understand, and they'll get behind this and they'll support it. I hope you have strength today, strength and honor.